Let's start with Lake City, Arkansas, USA. On April 6th, a real drama unfolded here. A family from this small town found themselves in the epicenter of a powerful EF3 tornado. For those who don't know, such tornadoes are capable of demolishing houses, uprooting trees, and destroying everything in their path. This is exactly what happened. Their house was hit directly by the elements. The building was literally demolished to the foundation, leaving nothing but rubble. But, fortunately, this family had a prepared rescue plan. They managed to move to a specially equipped bunker, which became their salvation. In this shelter, they waited out the fury of the tornado, and when everything died down, they got out to see that there was nothing left of their house. This story is a vivid example of how preparation and composure can save lives in the most extreme conditions. Tornadoes are unforgiving, and this family survived thanks to their foresight. Do you have a plan in case of such a disaster? Maybe you should find out where the nearest shelter is in advance, or even set up a safe place in your home. In Taunggyi, Myanmar, on March 28th, a giant boulder rolled down a mountain during an earthquake. It's a disaster! During the earthquake, a huge boulder the size of a truck rolled down a mountain. It demolished everything in its path. It crushed a car, in which fortunately no one was in, and crashed into a residential building, breaking through the wall. The family living in the house miraculously escaped harm, but their home is now in ruins. People on social media are writing, "This is like a disaster movie." The earthquake caused chaos, and this boulder was its most dramatic consequence. Taunggyi is a mountain town, and earthquakes are not uncommon here, but this case is rare. Meteorologists say the tremors provoked a landslide and the boulder became part of it. The authorities evacuated residents from the danger zone, and rescuers are clearing away the rubble. In 2019, a landslide in Myanmar took 34 lives, and now everyone is afraid of new tragedies. The family from the damaged house thanks fate for saving them. Taunggyi survived a stone nightmare, but life goes on. In the Krasnoyarsk territory, Russia, on April 5th, a strong wind almost covered people with a torn-off roof. It was scary. Subscribe if you're ready for windy action, and let's go! Krasnoyarsk in Novosiolovo, morning of April 5th, a strong wind of up to 25 meters per second caused chaos. In Krasnoyarsk, a piece of the roof fell off a house and almost covered 2 passers-by. They managed to run away at the last moment. And in Novosiolovo, during a dust storm, the roof of another building collapsed right onto the road, almost hitting a pedestrian. People on social networks are writing, "It's a miracle that everyone is alive!" The wind was accompanied by a dust storm, and visibility dropped to a minimum. Krasnoyarsk Krai is experiencing abnormal weather this spring. Strong winds tear off roofs, break trees, and tear off wires. In Novosiolovo, a dust storm only worsened the situation, covering the streets with sand. Fortunately, there are no casualties, but the authorities are urging residents not to go outside unless necessary. In 2023, the wind blew away the roof of a school in Krasnoyarsk, and now such incidents are happening again. Krasnoyarsk Krai experienced a windy nightmare, but everyone is safe. In Japan, on April 7th, the Sakurajima volcano on the island of Kyushu had a powerful eruption. What a fire show! Sakurajima exploded with incredible force. A column of ash rose 4 kilometers, and hot lava flowed down the slopes, illuminating everything around. The roar was heard 20 kilometers away, and the ashfall covered the city of Kagoshima. People on social networks are writing, "The sky has turned black!" The authorities evacuated 2,000 people from nearby areas, and Kagoshima Airport suspended flights. Sakurajima is one of the most active volcanoes in Japan, and it has shown its power again. Sakurajima erupts almost every year, but this eruption is one of the strongest in recent years. The temperature of the lava is more than 1,100 degrees, and it threatens agricultural fields. In 2024, the Sakurajima eruption already covered Kagoshima with ash, and now residents are cleaning the streets again. Fortunately, there are no casualties, but volcanologists warn, activity may continue. Japan is living on a powder keg. Sakurajima keeps everyone on their toes, and the spectacle is breathtaking. If you enjoyed this fiery trip, like it, and comment if you would like to see the volcano. In Nashville, Tennessee, USA, on April 5th, massive floods flooded the city. It's water chaos. Watch, Nashville, morning of April 5th, heavy rain turned the city into a lake. The streets are flooded, the water rose a meter, and cars are drowning right in the parking lots. Residents are in a panic. Houses are flooded, roads are blocked, and the city center is paralyzed. They write on social networks, "We're like Venice, but without the romance." Rescuers are evacuating people by boat, but the water is still rising. Nashville has already suffered from a tornado in Selmer on April 3rd, and now another blow. Meteorologists say more than 180 millimeters of precipitation fell in 24 hours, and the Cumberland River burst its banks. Nashville is the music capital of the USA, but today only sirens are heard here. Electricity is out in half the city, and bridges are blocked. In 2010, a flood in Nashville claimed 31 lives, and now the authorities are doing everything to avoid a tragedy. But the elements are relentless, and residents fear for their homes. Nashville is struggling with water, but nature is not giving up. Now let's move to El Dorado Springs, Missouri, USA. Here, on April 2nd, nature showed its power in the form of a nearby lightning strike. Imagine, a clear day, and suddenly the sky is torn apart by a blinding flash. Lightning struck directly into a tree, which probably split with a deafening crack. This incident reminds us how dangerous thunderstorms can be, especially if you are in an open area. Fortunately, no one was hurt in this incident, but the tree most likely turned into a pile of charred debris, and locals discussed the event for a long time. Lightning is not only a beautiful sight, but also a serious threat that can take you by surprise. If you hear thunder, don't wait for a thunderstorm to start. Find shelter and wait it out in a safe place. Next, we'll head to Russia, where the first day of snowfall in the Kaluga, Moscow, Vladimir, and Nizhny Novgorod regions turned into chaos. The snow fell so heavily that visibility on the roads became virtually zero. As a result, there were many accidents. Cars collided, slid, and got stuck in snowdrifts. But that's not all. Strong winds and the weight of the snow caused trees to fall, blocking roads and tearing down power lines. Residents of these regions face serious problems: traffic jams, power outages, and the need to clear debris. This snowfall was a real test for everyone who found themselves in the epicenter of the elements. The weather can change instantly, and such snowfalls remind us how important it is to be prepared for any surprises. Are you ready for the winter whims of nature? It might be a good idea to always keep warm clothes, a shovel, and extra food in your car in case you get stuck on the road. Now let's move to the Zabaykalsky Krai, where forest fires are raging in April. As many as 30 fires have been recorded in the region, and one of the most dramatic places is the village of Bergen in the Chita region. Videos that have appeared online show how the fire is rapidly spreading through dry grass and forests, getting closer and closer to residential buildings. Smoke is covering everything around, and local residents and firefighters are doing everything possible to stop the elements. These fires are a reminder of how quickly fires can get out of control, especially in dry weather and strong winds. Fires can start from the slightest spark, and this story makes you think about how careful we are. Let's always remember the rules of fire safety. Do not make fires in dry weather, and make sure the fire is completely extinguished. Next, we head to Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where massive flooding occurred on April 6th. The rains that hit the city turned the streets into raging rivers, water flooded houses, washed away cars, and destroyed everything in its path. Thousands of people were left homeless, and the city's infrastructure was seriously damaged. Residents of Kinshasa struggled to cope with the aftermath of the disaster, trying to save their property and find a safe place. This flood was a real tragedy for the city, showing how vulnerable large metropolitan areas can be to natural disasters. Floods can come unexpectedly, especially during the rainy season, and this story reminds us how important it is to be prepared. Do you have a flood plan? Perhaps you should stock up on food and water, or find out where the nearest evacuation points are. Now let's move to Ethiopia, where the Erta volcano erupted on April 6. Known as the gateway to hell for its constantly boiling lava lake, the volcano suddenly came to life. Hot lava began pouring out of the crater, and a column of ash and smoke rose from the volcano. The lava flows slowly but inexorably down the slopes, destroying everything in their path. Fortunately, the area around Erta is sparsely populated, but the eruption was an important event for scientists who study volcanic activity. The spectacle was both frightening and fascinating. Nature once again showed its unbridled power. Volcanoes are a reminder that our planet is alive and constantly changing. If you live near a volcanic zone, always follow government warnings and have an evacuation plan in case of an eruption. The next incident took place in the Himalayas, on Mount Annapurna 2 in Nepal. On April 4th, a huge avalanche descended from this peak. A mass of snow and ice crashed down with a roar, sweeping away everything in its path. Fortunately, there were no climbers or locals in the area at the time of the avalanche, but the fact that this event occurred makes you think about how dangerous the mountains can be. Annapurna has always been known for its treacherous conditions, and this avalanche was another reminder that nature reigns supreme here. The mountains beckon with their beauty, but they can be deadly. If you are planning a hike in the mountains, always check the weather forecast and avalanche danger to return home safe and sound. Let's return to the United States, to the city of Dawson Springs, Kentucky. There was a severe flood here on April 6th. The rains, which lasted for several days, caused rivers to overflow their banks and the city streets to turn into raging torrents. Water flooded houses, roads, and bridges, leaving destruction in its wake. Residents of Dawson Springs were forced to evacuate, and emergency services worked around the clock to help those in trouble. This incident was part of a wave of floods that hit Kentucky in April, showing how serious the effects of climate change can be. Flooding is becoming more common, and this story makes us think about how we can protect ourselves. If you live in a risk zone, consider fortifying your home or preparing a bag with essentials in case of evacuation. Now we go to the city of Lebanon, Tennessee, USA. Here, on April 3rd, a tornado caused serious damage. One of the locals lost his garage. The tornado literally carried it away, leaving only an empty space. The winds were so strong that metal structures bent like paper and debris flew hundreds of meters. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but this incident was part of a wave of tornadoes that hit the region in early April, reminding us how destructive such natural disasters can be. Tornadoes can appear suddenly, and this story shows how important it is to be prepared. Do you know what to do if you hear a tornado warning? Find a safe place, away from windows, and keep a flashlight and a radio handy to monitor the news. Next, we move to Stavropol, Russia, where an active thunderstorm raged on the night of April 6th. Bright flashes of lightning lit up the sky above the city, and rumbles of thunder could be heard for miles. Rain was pouring down, and strong winds bent trees and tore down billboards. Locals filmed the spectacle, and the footage turned out to be truly impressive. The storm was part of a pattern of unsettled weather that has swept the region, reminding everyone that spring weather can be not only warm, but also very dangerous. Thunderstorms are not only a beautiful sight, but also a serious threat, especially if you are outside. If you see the sky darkening, do not take risks. Find shelter and wait out the storm in a safe place. Let's return to the United States, to Franklin County, Kentucky. Here in April, a prolonged downpour led to serious flooding. The water rose so quickly that many roads were underwater, and houses in low-lying areas were flooded. Residents of the county struggled with the aftermath of the disaster. Some tried to save their property, while others were forced to evacuate. The flooding was part of a series of similar events in Kentucky, where heavy rainfall this month broke all records, leaving behind destruction and chaos. Such floods show how important it is to be prepared for the elements, especially if you live in a risk zone. Do you know how to protect your home from flooding? Perhaps you should prepare sandbags in advance, or find out where the nearest shelters are. Now we go to Saran, one of the largest cities in the Kurdistan Republic in Iraq. Here in April, a powerful hail fell. Ice balls the size of walnuts fell from the sky, covering the streets with a white carpet. The hail was so strong that it broke car windows, damaged roofs of houses, and even injured people who did not have time to take shelter. Local residents were shocked. Such weather phenomena are rare in this region, and this hail became a real test for the city. Hail may not seem so dangerous, but as we can see, it can cause serious damage. Do you know how to protect your property from hail? For example, you can cover your car in advance or prepare a canopy for vulnerable things. And finally, we will finish our selection with an incredible event in Shanghai, China. On April 3rd, a bright fireball lit up the night sky above this metropolis. A meteor rushed over the city, leaving behind a glowing trail that was visible even through the city lights. Residents of Shanghai filmed this spectacle on video, and the footage quickly spread across the internet. Scientists later confirmed that it was a meteor that burned up in the atmosphere before reaching the ground. But for those who saw it with their own eyes, it was a real space show that they will remember for the rest of their lives. Such phenomena remind us how amazing our universe is, and how great it is that we can witness its wonders. Would you like to see a meteor with your own eyes? Don't forget to look at the sky sometimes. Maybe you will be lucky enough to witness such a miracle. This is the selection of natural disasters we have today. From tornadoes and floods to volcanic eruptions and fireballs, nature never ceases to amaze and frighten us with its power. If you like this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so you don't miss new releases. And in the comments, write which of these cases impressed you the most. Until next time, friends, and be careful. Nature can always surprise you.